Hello, hello. Another day in advanced comp. This will be a very, very brief introduction and overview of how to avoid informal language in academic writing. Academic writing can be technical writing, a category of it, although it looks different. It can be creative writing. Sometimes you don't want to use informal language in any of those types of writing. So this is just good groundwork and foundation, kind of stepping off of what we lectured about or I lectured about yesterday. I'm going to highlight some things on this sheet and then I will upload it for you so you have it as a reference when you are writing. I will be using some of these words when I grade your paper, so this will be a good way to use the same vocabulary when we're talking about your writing. Okay, first, informal language are generalizations. You want to avoid grazing generalizations. So if it says something like criminals are dangerous and Americans are overweight, you just want to be more specific. So here's kind of the informal and here's kind of the redo. You would want to say like they can be, let me move my face, I'm sorry, they can be dangerous, or you want to give a quantity of something like two-thirds of Americans. To make grazing statements like this can cause you to lose credibility. Vague language. Vague language are language that don't give really a specific, that it is a general word like school is a big thing in my life. Well, big thing to you or me or my son Rudy are all going to be different. So you need to give a specific quality, quantity description of what that means. Drinking and driving is bad. The word bad is just a low level word. It again kind of goes along that whole word choice thing. You don't want to say bad, you can change the wording. Down here it says school is you simply identify it is a important part of life, or drinking and driving is not just bad, but what type of bad, it is dangerous. I didn't highlight up here, and for that I apologize. You don't need to use you in academic writing unless you're giving like instructions in a technical setting, but that's extremely rare that you're going to do it. So for your research paper or your narrative, you are not going to say you because it's probably not me or you, as in my son Rudy, who may read your paper. You just need to identify who that is that you're speaking to. So you can say nurses, or another way that you change you is to say Americans, individuals, teenagers, etc. So you need to identify who that you is because it's not usually you, as in me or somebody else that's reading the paper. Informal expressions. So here's where I use the word colloquial, which means it sounds like you're having a conversation. It's a bad habit when you write, so we just need to not do it. My aunt has a lot of kids. It's just okay when you're talking to someone else, but not when you're academically writing. Or the criminal justice system is messed up. The word messed up, you may feel is accurate and it may be conversationally accurate, but when you are writing for a professional setting, you do not use the word like it's so jacked up or messed up. It's just not professional. Here we give a reversion. We say many. My aunt has many children, and the criminal justice system has serious. Oh, I'm sorry, my formatting has caused this to go somewhere else. Has serious problems, has serious concerns, has serious unfairness, whatever words you want to fill in. And I'm sorry that there's no word there. Um, this I looked up information. I looked up information is pretty conversational. I feel like this is in the wrong category as I tried to get this into a e-learning document. I feel like this is a colloquialism, conversational phrase. It's accepted when you're speaking to somebody, but not when you're writing. You don't want to say like, I looked up a lot of information about the messed up system. It doesn't sound formal. You would change the word to simply, I looked up, you push that word choice, and we end up at this beautiful word like I researched. Contractions, Depends on who you ask. I just don't use them as a general rule. I think it comes off as looking sloppy, but that's kind of my opinion. The rules vary on this, but I just get in a habit of not writing contractions. And one reason I do that is sometimes I will use the wrong there or your. So it is really just a way for me to grammar check. Old school probably don't use contractions. This rule varies, but I don't use them. And then also, you need to reread your sentences to make sure you don't have some fragments. This because word can cause problems because it is near my home, or people will insert the word such as and make it a complete sentence. It tends to be a repeated error just in general. So, a lot of times, this sentence, when you use because or such as, needs to be attached to the word in front of it. So, let me review. Generalizations are not good. You can't clump everybody in one category. Vague language like bad, big, a lot of. Use specific words. Avoid you. It's never you, or it's not every you that reads, if that makes sense. Watch colloquialisms. You don't say a lot of kids in my class, the messed up system, and then we came up here to like, I looked up all this information. This kind of colloquial ness needs to come out in your word choice. Last, contractions, it's just personal preference, although I say don't use them, and be careful of fragments. Let me just read you what you might feel like as you wrote was professional and hit the pocket of academic writing, but now that we know all this stuff, it might seem like we could do a better job. So the paragraph here, I'm going to read it to you. Americans disagree whether the death penalty is a bad idea or not. Some people don't think the death penalty is humane, while many conservatives believe that it's fair punishment for killing someone, even if murder is even if the murderer is under 18 years old. I believe the death penalty is a good way to stop kids from killing each other. Nobody would commit a crime when you find out that guys you know have been fried for a crime. So here we have bad idea, that's got to go. We have the words a contraction here, which needs to go. We have killing someone is pretty colloquial. You might want to say committing murder. Is a good way, is very conversational. Nobody would commit a crime is a generalization. And then we come down here and we have a fragment. When you find out is kind of colloquial. So we got a fragment on top of a colloquial phrase on top of this conversational language, like has been fried for a crime, is just hits that vague, unprofessional language. So even though this might appear on the surface not to be too bad, when you dig deeper, like it literally has all of these things, 10 corrections that need to be made. I will attach this to your Google Classroom as a reference because sometimes it's a lot easier to look at somebody else's example as a way to make your writing better. That's the lecture for today, and move to the next assignment in your Google Classroom.